In the Writer's Chair, candid conversations about the writing life with Lana McCara and Vandella Publishing.
Welcome to In the Writer's Chair, where we pull up a chair to talk about writing craft, writing life, and what's possible for writers right now. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Vickey Wollan to the podcast. Always a rambunctious child, Vickey brings energy and curiosity to her sweet adventure romance writing. Her archaeologist heroine, Lana Shea, takes you with her into the wilderness and beyond, finding hidden treasures aplenty. Lana attracts many kinds of heroes to assist her in her arduous quests. As an entrepreneur, she must always fulfill her clients' dreams by finding the treasures they seek. So check out Lana Shea's Treasure Quest series. Vickey's original works have Christmas themes because she likes to keep her inner child alive. With her 3 novel series, A Snowflake Christmas, and her short story collection, A Cheery Christmas, she began her writing journey. Vickey lives in Florida with her business partner husband, and together they've traveled to many countries and a great deal of America's national parks. Hiking the outdoors is a great way to follow one's imagination to run free. These experiences fuel her creativity as she plots her next story. Welcome, Vickey.
Thank you, Lana. Pleasure to be here.
Didn't we meet at the Sunshine State Book Festival?
We did. We also met at the First Coast Romance Writers. I was an online student when you were presenting to them in 2025.
Okay.
You wouldn't necessarily see me, but I was online with you.
Online. Okay. Yes, they just contacted me to come back. So I think I'm going to be there sometime this fall. Yeah, that's awesome. So we've been kind of circling around each other here in the northern part of Florida.
Great.
Very cool. So let's talk a little bit about tropes. Mm-hmm. You use that word in your notes that you sent me, and I would like to discover that a little bit because I believe our readers probably don't know what that is. Maybe even some of the newer writers might not know what that is. So what are tropes?
So to me, it's kind of like a sub-genre. It's a plot. So the readers have a better expectation of what's going to be a part of the story. And within my not a cheery Christmas, that's my 7-story collection. Within A Snowflake Christmas, the 3-book series, I used a variety of tropes on purpose because I wanted to have authors from a different age ranges. And so in the first book, I started off with forbidden love as the trope, having watched the movie The Thornbirds. And the forbidden love in that particular story kind of resonated with me. And so I decided to make that my first book attempt. I've written some other short stories, but this was my first full-length novel. So it's a forbidden love in an office romance setting. And then I moved on in A Snowflake Christmas, The Nutcracker, which is the second book in the series, to a sweet version of a love triangle. And what I mean by that is there are 2 suitors trying to woo one professional woman who does not have romance as her top priority. And so she picks one of them. So it's not a true triangle, but it's a sweet version of a triangle. And that made sense for my second book. And because I wanted to expand the age range, some of my readers actually requested for me to have a couple over 40. And so in the last book in the series, Snowflake Christmas, The Elf, it's a second chance romance, and it's mature characters in a romance who are getting their second chance at love.
Okay, that's a really great explanation because it's kind of the setup for the story that someone would understand in just a couple of words. I have a book that came out yesterday, by the way.
Congrats.
Super excited. And it's a marriage of convenience.
Aha.
So just in those little words, you get it. you kind of get what's gonna happen.
And there are evergreen tropes that everybody like recognizes. And then there are some where they kind of get creative and combine this and that. And so there's some readers who kind of want what they want and they look for it, whether it be on the blurb or in the title or somehow in the description, they're looking for a trope.
Yes, I've started putting tropes in my subtitle.
Good idea.
Because that gets into the search engine easier, but
True.
It definitely has to be there somewhere.
Definitely.
So when you have your menage a trois, or whatever you want to call it, your triangle, how do you pick which of the characters are actually going to stay together?
So I don't want to give too much away, but one of the characters was in a romance with the heroine in high school and went away to play football. And then life for him wasn't going so well. And he came back home and he just expected her to be sitting there waiting for him. And so he tries and tries and tries to like rekindle that romance and kind of never happens. So it's not like she really engages both of them per se. She's being pursued by them romantically, and it's how she has to handle them because she owns a business and she's part of the town and she has to maintain her business relationships and he's part of a prominent family. And so she doesn't like completely push him to the side, but the reason the person who wins her heart, Eric, is just more her kind of person. He's very genuine and giving and just connects with her. And Eric happens to be a single dad. And so she also has this interesting connection with his son. And the Nutcracker itself, the story is the lore of the Nutcracker in Germany. If somebody gives you a Nutcracker as a gift, it's supposed to protect your home. And so she owns a store it's a Christmas tree farm, and she gives the boy, his son, a Nutcracker because she thinks it's broken. And it ends up that he, in playing with this broken Nutcracker, thinks it's giving him answers to his questions. So this young boy will ask a question and the Nutcracker, the arms are on springs and it springs up. And the little boy says, answer my question. And that's kind of how the story grows. And so my Christmas stories tend to have kind of like a mystical element in it for that Christmassy feeling, like, is Santa Claus real? How did reindeer fly? That kind of a feeling. And that's what happens in the.
Okay. Very, very cool. So in your main series here, that archaeologist, if I could just say that word, I don't know what it is about. I know what an archaeologist is. What would you say would be a subgenre or trope for that series?
So she is kind of like a female Indiana Jones. She is very beautiful, but doesn't know it necessarily. And she's very athletic. And so people who look at her from afar think she is like all that and gets everything she wants. But really internally, she's struggling to prove to everybody that she can run her own business. Her father is an archaeologist. And so she becomes an archaeologist. And to me, it's a trope of strong women, like proving themselves. But it's also, in this particular book, an enemies to sweet lovers. It's closed door, kind of inferred, but a sweet scene. Her hero is one of the people that she grew up with, and they played tag when they were younger, and they always made her it because she was the youngest. And she's fairly tall for a woman. That's one of the reasons she's so good at athlete, because she was put to the test at a young age. And she remembered him always making her it. And so they were kind of rivals. And now she needs his help because she has someone who is trying to harm her personally as well as her business. And he happens to be a police officer. So the story opens with her going into the police department to file a complaint And he takes her statement and is like, I know you. And she's a treasure hunter, right? And it just so happens that his family has a treasure that a family lore, and he hires her to get the treasure, silver tokens, as a gift to his mother for Mother's Day or her birthday.
Did you base this story on someone you know or a movie you saw? Where'd you get the idea?
So it was a combination of a lot of different things. I consider myself having a science background, so that kind of is like in there. And I had watched a movie where the people in Canada, the Hudson Bay Company, paid their fur traders back in the day, like way back, little silver tokens, and some of them were shaped as beavers. And that's how you know who they were, what they were worth. And so having carried around that silver, it was easy to get it stolen. And the reason this treasure is out there is because an older relative of the hero's family had money stolen from him, and they were chasing after the person that stole it. And he had to drop it off before he was captured, and he would never give up where he hid the silver tokens. And so she is hired to help him find it.
Okay, so you've combined the idea of the romance with this finder puzzle, right?
It has mystery and suspense and adventure and tension between the two of them. And yeah.
What state is the story located in?
So it's originated in Columbus, Ohio. I went to Ohio State, so kind of that's where she got her education. That's where her business is located. But it's on the island that's the furthest north of Michigan, because what happened is the Canadian person was canoeing across the water channel and dropped off, the coins right off the shore. And so that's where they're hidden. And that particular island is truly geographically known for having ice caves. And so things get shifted around every time, the freeze and the thaw and the freeze and the thaw. And so it's a fictional story, but it has elements of true history in it. So it's kind of basic.
So the snowflake is actually a real place.
Snowflake is completely fictional, and Her Mentor's Revenge, the Lana Shea series, is separate than Snowflake. So with Snowflake, the hiking and the national parks, I was in between. I had gone to both in the same trip, Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons. And the physical part of the USA in between there is very rural and lots of little small towns. And you'll drive through them and you kind of go, was that a town? Wait a minute. Was that 3 buildings together? And so this is, truly, this is a fictional mountainous small town. So there's skiing involved, and there's sleds, but it's Christmas themed, and it's a great small town community.
Okay, that's really interesting. I have created fictional small towns in between real towns just to make a little hole in the wall,
right?
For the story. Because, it's nice to have a real town, but sometimes you want to fictionalize it so you can massage and create the location to fit what you want rather than having to go with, what's there. So I'm going to take about 30 seconds right now just to mention our sponsor, Vandella Publishing. Vandella Publishing is a traditional publisher, but we have a different model where the author keeps 100% of their royalties and 100% of their rights. We offer support for publicity, and we actually call bookstores and libraries to set up live speaking events for you. So check out Vandella Publishing. There's a lot there. There's a lot more that we do at Vandella, V as in Victor, ENDELA publishing.com. Well, Vickey, what does your travel, because it sounds like you travel a lot, how does that play into your writing? Do you take trips on purpose just to research?
That would be so nice, but no, it's the trips that I take just because I want to take the trip end up being inspirational. Just the experiences and the excitement and like the downtime become inspiring. And then once that seed is planted, you kind of, if you're creative, it has to come out somehow. And so you put it into your writing.
Okay. Yeah, because I have a friend that whenever she goes on vacation, she comes home with a different book. But she doesn't go for that. You know, she just gets this ideas. Yeah. Isn't that what downtime does for us? When we have quiet moments, all of a sudden the brain just starts working.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah. So what's ahead for you? Are you going to write book number 4?
So Snowflake is, 3-book series, and I thought I had finished it. And Her Mentor's Revenge, the Lana Shea series, is the first book in the series. And interestingly enough, the difference between writing to market and writing your passion project, my Christmas books sell really well, even like way better than Lana Shea, no matter how much I try to promote her. And so the concept came up, and this is my husband's suggestion. I'm going to have Lainey be requested to go to Snowflake to try to find a treasure there. So I'm kind of crossing over the 2 series together. I'm not 100% certain I'm going to go down that path, but that's kind of, I'm in my own mind going, should I go back to full Christmas? Or should I stay with Lainey? I love that character. And when I say she's an archaeologist, think female Indiana Jones, a lot of readers instantly go, that sounds cool. What a great character. But trying to get like Amazon and other platforms to figure out what adventure romance is versus a Christmas theme romance, it's very easy for Christmas to market. So that's kind of where I'm at, honestly. And I'm in a crossroads. I completely outlined out the book where the crossover happens, and I'm just still tweaking it. I've never had this situation where I'm a plotter, and I plot, and I'm happy with my plot, and I'm like down the road, and I pasture my way through the plot that I've written. So this one, I've plotted it and I keep tweaking it and I keep tweaking it. And there's something about it that I'm just not ready to sit down and write those new words. But I'm certain I will come out with additional works soon enough. Hopefully, maybe later this year, early next year. I tend to write 1 book a year.
Yeah, I totally get that. Sometimes the plot just locks in. And you know it and you feel it. And other times you're trying to find the right place to, have it that feeling, that settled feeling. And we struggle. It doesn't matter how many books you've written, you're going to find those places where it feels patchy. It feels like something's off. You don't know what it is, that kind of thing. So if you're listening out there and you have got a book that just won't settle down, well, join the crowd.
It happens to us all.
Yeah.
So that my creativity is still there. People are like, do you have writer's block? I'm like, no, I don't believe in writer's block. I don't think writer's block exists. I'm just not happy enough with it yet.
Yeah, I just haven't found the right slot, the right thing. Yeah, for sure. Sometimes I have even put a book aside and gone and written another one while I let that one simmer. Because sometimes in the middle of the night, all of a sudden your eyes fly open. You're like, oh, I've got it. I figured it out. Yeah. And you're dashing to the laptop like, I've got to get it. Well, I've got, well, before it leaves, it's going to leave. Yeah, for sure. So where are your books located? Where can we find them?
I am on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited.
Okay, give us the title, the several titles. I would like to get that because it'll be in the closed captions. If you turn on the closed captions, you'll see that. And we're also going to put it in the notes. But I want everyone to be able to have that really locked in. So give us the title and your name as well.
Christmas in July with Vickey Wollan. And it's Wollan. And my first name is spelled weirdly like Mickey Mouse. So it's Vickey Wollan. And people try to pronounce it like Wollan. And it's Wollansky without the ski. So Wollan. And the name of my books, A Snowflake Christmas is the series. And that's the name of the first book. A Snowflake Christmas, the Nutcracker. So in the first book, the snowflake is the mystical element. In the second book, the Nutcracker is the second element. And in the third book, A Snowflake Christmas, the elf. Elf on a Shelf is the only instead of it being the children that learn things from the elf, it ends up being the adults. And then I have my 7 short story sweet Christmas themed, a cheery Christmas collection. And that is a variety of genre, contemporary, young adult, mystical, paranormal. And then I switched over from Christmas to adventure romance, which includes mystery and suspense. And that is Her Mentor's Revenge. And that's the Lana Shea series.
Okay. And you have a website?
I do. VickeyWollanAuthor.com.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. And then I'm sure you're on Facebook and Instagram and all those places as well.
Yep. Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, like YouTube. Yeah.
YouTube. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. This has been great, Vickey. I think you have a free gift today.
I do. I'm going to give an ebook box set of the entire series, the Snowflake entire series.
Okay. And how do they access that?
So, we have to figure that out. You'll be able to get my link from BookFunnel, the free book. I guess, when I promote this particular podcast, when it comes out, if you comment, then that makes you eligible. That works. Sorry, I should have had those details nailed down. But yeah, commenting on me promoting this podcast makes you eligible.
Yes. And then you can get with them to give them the link to go and access that. That'd be terrific. Yeah. Thank you for that.
My privilege.
Taking the effort to make that available. Yeah. I appreciate it. When it comes and just for the listeners, a benefit, when it comes to doing these podcasts, making things accessible, putting up a page where there's a link and posting things to social media, all of this takes time for the author. It's time we're not writing. And I know for myself, if I get into that where, I've got to put this up, I've got, this or that going on, I need to put that up. The whole time I'm over there, I'm like, man, I could be writing that chapter right now.
Absolutely. They say it's about 50-50. 50% you're actually working on your projects and 50% marketing.
That's exactly right. Yes, indeed. So don't get discouraged if you've got a book in the works and you're getting frustrated. It's just the world we live in. This is the price we pay for being a published author.
True.
Yeah. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it.
Right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you, Vickey, so much for being with us today. This has been a tremendous conversation. Thank you.
I greatly appreciate the opportunity. Have a great day.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us. Thanks for pulling up a chair with us, and see you next time.